Hi guys, how are you? I have a word for some of you guys who may have been a little bit confused. God doesn't operate through confusion, but when God tells you to close certain doors with certain people, or when certain people, close the door with you, and sometimes you tend to wonder why, and sometimes you tend to question what you did wrong, what's going on, especially when you're someone that's never really felt any bad vibes off these people, whether it's like a person you're in a relationship with, whether it's a family or a friend. Sometimes you tend to like close the door, but then you tend to be confused. You still question God, like, God, but why did I have to close the door with this person? Like, I thought everything was cool. Like, I thought this was a good person. Especially when you find someone that has gifts like you, it's kind of like you feel like you can relate to the person because both of you guys have gifts, right? So if you're in a relationship with someone and they're gifted, you're gifted, it's kind of like, wait, we're for each other, yay. Or you find someone that understands your mentality spiritually, you know what I mean, in the church. Like, you may find other brother and sister in Christ that understands your mentality in the church, or outside of church, and you guys love Christ together. And you feel like you're not alone. It feels like you're on top of the world now because you finally found someone that understands you, and you can hang out with them, and they love God, you love God, and whatever the situation is, it could be male, female, whatever the situation is. But sometimes when God says, okay, you got to close that door, most of the times we always tend to think maybe they're low-key hating, maybe they're a little bit jealous, maybe because you don't know why God told you to close the door. Sometimes God won't really reveal everything to you. Do you see what I'm saying? For some of you guys, yeah, that may have been the case. Maybe some people were like low-key hating on you, and they were doing things or saying things behind your back that you would have never thought that they would say or do, because they're your so-called lover, or they're your so-called friend, or they're family, or you guys feel like you're close because you share the same gifts, or you guys have similar gifts, right? But you have to understand something. It's what God was explaining to me last night. Sometimes God will tell people to leave you alone. It's not that, because God knows you're not going to do it. Sometimes God may tell someone, hey, you need to leave this person alone, or God will make them just drift away from you, or sometimes God will pull you away from them or tell you to leave them alone, because there's things that you don't know that God knows, okay? Last time it was revealed to me that for some of us, I'm going to say us because I'm going to take heed of this too. I'm going to take this message to this word too. For some of us, we're on a different path than a lot of people. It's not to say that we are going to judge people. We're better than people. No, because my past wasn't the best. You know what I mean? I wasn't always on the right path. I got led astray as well. You get what I'm saying? But there's certain things that God does not tolerate. Okay. You can't, it's like, some people that end up being led astray, they still love God, they worship God, they pray, but they may still be drinking, but they may still be partying, or they may still be doing certain things, right? And it's not to judge individuals that do this stuff, because we're not perfect either. But there's some things that God specifically does not tolerate, and he will tell people, especially if they have gifts, he will tell them, you have to really let this go. You cannot have this specific door open. And when he tells these individuals they have to close these specific doors, sometimes people are disobedient and they'll refuse to close these doors. You see what I'm saying? Like they love God, but they'll refuse to obey God in specific areas. And the specific areas God does not tolerate. It's kind of like you cannot be dabbling in this while you're fasting and serving me. It's not going to work. You can't dabble in both. So if you're on a different path than someone and you have closed all the doors that God told you to close, right? And no, you're not perfect, but let's just say you have closed all the doors that God told you to close, and you are trying to live a righteous life, and like I said, God does not expect you to be perfect, but there's some things, even when the doors were open, like whether you're partying, whether you're drinking, whether you're doing whatever you're doing, there's certain doors that you would have not opened even while you were on that path. You get what I'm saying? Even while you were doing certain things, there's certain doors that you would not have even opened even before you were following God, because it's wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it's wrong. Let me give an example. There's been people in New Age who like crystals and who do like tarot cards, oracle cards, but some of these individuals would never take it to the next level and be doing love spells, or take it to the next level and be doing black magic or rituals to hurt someone. Like, they wouldn't take it to that level. It's like they have boundaries. They wouldn't go to a certain level, right? It's that concept. And the reason why I'm saying this is because Some of you guys, you're wondering why God pulled away a specific person or specific people. And he said last night, it's because the paths that you guys are both on are completely different. You're heading in a completely different path than where that person is heading in. And he specifically said that person, whoever it is, they're dabbling into some really dark stuff. So it's not, and the thing is, they won't do it to you. So they may not have done anything to you, but they were doing things to other people. That's what I'm saying. Like, they were doing things to other people, and you did not know about this. You had no idea that this person, this male, was into warlockism, and he was literally doing a lot of rituals and spells on other people because he was not doing it to you, or because he was not, doing certain things around you. So you never thought that this person would be into that because they were hiding it from you. Do you get what I'm saying? But God knew. Or you would not ever think that friend or that family member who you're so close with, you would never think that female friend or family member was dabbling into some heavy witchcraft, and they were practicing it ritualistically, and to where they do it weekly. Do you get what I'm saying? And they're doing spells and love spells to break up people, and they're doing love spells to bring them together with someone else, and doing spells to make their money grow and all of that stuff. And you would not know that because around you, they're God, God, God. Let's pray, pray, pray. Around you, that guy is saying God, 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 pray, pray, pray. But God sees all that. And God did give them warning and say, you got to switch your path. You can't be dabbling in this type of stuff. You can't be doing spells. If you need your money, you need more income, you got to come to me and pray to me and ask me to increase your income. You don't have to be burning nothing on paper, or burning nothing, or, going under the moon and chanting for me to upgrade your income. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to be, if you want to be with that person, you don't have to be going to calling no people to do love spells to bring you and that person together. Or if they're with someone they're not supposed to be with, or you think they're not supposed to be with, you don't have to be going to nobody to pay them to break up that couple. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of stuff that the person that you guys were associated with was doing, but you would not know that because they're not going to come to you and say, hey, I did a love spell to break up two people, or I did a love spell to bring this person to me, or I was doing some rituals to do this, to bring more money in my life, or, I did rituals against my enemies. Like, I did something against a person I think is doing spells to me. I did a reversal back on that person to break them up, or, to hurt them, or you get what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to come to you and say that if they know that your path has completely changed, or if they know that you're on a different level with God. Do you get what I'm saying? Because there's certain things people can come to you and say, and certain things they're not going to. They're not going to come to you and say that because they know that you're not that kind of person. They know that your walk with God is serious. Your walk with God is not a play in the park. It's not, you don't have one foot dabbled in and then one foot out. No, you literally are wholeheartedly walking with God, and they know this. So this is why they pulled away, or this is why God pulled you away from them, or this is why God told you to close the door, or told them to close the door when it comes to you. Because sometimes God won't tell us to close the door with certain people. Sometimes God will tell them, hey, you got to stop talking to her and leave her alone, or stop talking to him and leave him alone. Because you know what? They're on a totally different path and you're not being obedient. You know what I mean? I've had people in my past where God would tell me, that if certain people didn't switch what they were doing, I wasn't able to hang out with them no more. And that's in the past. Like, he would say that, and I'm like, whoa, God is serious about that. You know what I mean? And it was okay in the beginning, and then he would tell me, you can't hang with this person no more. And I'm like, why? And then I would start to see why. When I was disobedient, I would get hurt or get stabbed in the back, and I would see why, right? But this specific situation is because they're dabbling in some really dark stuff. They're ritualistically practicing something that they know they know God is not okay with, but it's kind of like they're back and forth with God. It's kind of like they know God is not okay with this. They know they're not supposed to be doing love spells. They know they're not supposed to do separation spells. They know they're not supposed to do spells to try to increase their income. They know they're not supposed to be doing reversals and trying to harm someone that they don't like. They know they're not supposed to be going to multiple witch doctors to get them to help them to do certain things, and to increase certain things, or to break certain things, or they know that they have to go to God. But the thing is, and God has warned them to stop, and they continuously did it. So this is why God pulled you away, because God is saying that's a big open door. And it's not that it's just a regular thing. Like, they practice this stuff. Like, this is not like, let me just try it one time and see if it works. No, this is someone that, and these are people, not someone, but these are people that are practicing it, as in it's ritualistic. Like, they do it on a regular. You get what I'm saying? They do it on a regular, and it's like they know it's not okay, but it's kind of like they're disobedient to God. And this is why God pulled you away, because you didn't know that this person is studying to be a witch, or is a witch, or this person is studying to be a warlock, or is a warlock. And it's kind of like they're leaning more towards that side than towards God. You get what I'm saying? Like, they know God, they may pray, they may fast and stuff, but they're leaning more towards the dark side than towards God. He said they had too many open doors, like too much open doors. And the kind of doors they had open is not the kind of doors that you had open. And you get what I'm saying? And the kind of doors they have open, it would have eventually affected you. It would have eventually affected you, because you guys are on two separate paths. You get what I'm saying? Like, the doors you have open are relating to the path you're on with God. The doors they have open are relating to what they're practicing. So do you see what I'm saying? So it's like mixing oil with water, and that wouldn't have worked out well, God said. It's going to affect where God is taking you. And not only that, but if someone is doing something behind the scenes to other people, even though you guys may not be at odds, you may not have nothing against each other, and you may love each other, if they're doing things to other people, right? Who knows what's going to happen later on? Who knows what their feelings are going to be towards you later on? They may not have done anything to you. They may not have done any spell work or rituals to you. But if there's any little bit of jealousy in their heart and it turns to envy, because they're already practicing this stuff, they're already studying it ritualistically, they're already considering themselves a witch or a warlock, and they're leaning more towards that side than God's side, eventually they're going to turn on you. Eventually, when you get married or something, eventually they're going to do spells to try to break you and your partner up, because now they may be jealous that you're not spending time with them no more. You get what I'm saying? Or they may be upset that you're living your life, and then they're frustrated, and they it may lead to that. Or it may lead to you having a business, and then they may start doing stuff to your business later on, and that's the thing. When you're dabbling and stuff like that, into like, and I'm not talking about no crystal, I'm talking about like rituals, like spells. Like, when you're actually dabbling into stuff like that, and you're doing it, and you're not going to God to ask God to help you, but you're doing it to bring in success, or doing it to bring in what you want, you know what I mean? That can turn to greed. How do you think a lot of people do you think the witch doctors that are doing what they're doing to you guys, do you think that they just started out being a witch doctor? No, they all started out practicing it. They all started out as just like a regular witch, just practicing it and just doing it for fun. And then when they saw it was working, they started leveling up in it and getting better and better and better at it, until they started to become greedy. And then their hearts went from being probably normal to now cold-hearted. Now they're doing the heavy stuff. Always starts off small, and then leads to them getting better at it, and then leads to something bigger, right? And that's what God is saying. Like, it would have led to something bigger, and eventually they would have turned on you. So that's why God had to pull this person or these people away from you. So this is just confirmation. This is confirmation, and not everyone's going to tell you what they do behind closed doors, because they know you're not with it. They know you don't do stuff like that. They know you're not into stuff like that. So they're not going to come to you and openly say, I did this or I did that. They're not going to say that stuff to you. They're going to keep doing it, but then they'll feel uncomfortable being around you, because they know that your path and their path is completely different. One person is heading more towards, the dark side, and one person's heading towards God. You get what I'm saying? So it can't mix. It can't mix, and that's what God is saying. Like, to mix those two recipes is a recipe for disaster, literally, and they would eventually turn on you. The devil would have eventually used them to turn on you. That's what God is saying. So yeah, whether it hurts and stuff, don't confuse it anymore with it's like, don't be confused no more. It's kind of like, it hurts, but you have to trust God and know that God did it for a reason, and you just have to move forward now. And I'm taking heed of this message too, because it cleared up a lot of things on my end too, because I was like, whoa, I didn't even know all this. But you have to remember that God sees what you don't see. Okay, so we just have to move forward and, you know, just try to live for God the best way we can, and, you know, and just yeah, just be cautious, you know. And like I said, when you're a good person, sometimes you don't know, because you want to see the best in everybody. And trust me, there's someone that smile on your face, and you may feel good vibes off this person, but then behind closed doors they're doing like heavy witchcraft, and you would never know unless God showed you, you know. And that happens sometimes. So yeah, I love you guys. We just got to stay strong. Love you guys. Bye.